With new evidence tonight that Senator McCain's attacks on his opponent's patriotism appear to be working, Senator Obama firing back today. First, the damage assessment. A new poll out tonight from the Los Angeles Times and Bloomberg showing that Senator Obama's image seems to be suffering under the daily onslaught of character assassination. Obama's favorability rating sinking to 48% from 59% since the last survey this organization did in June. By comparison, McCain's numbers holding steady, down only 1 point over the same period. The head-to-head national matchup now a statistical dead heat. Obama 45, McCain 43. Margin of error is 3. A huge Keith number, obviously. In June, the Democrat had led that by 12 points. In addition, more than one-third of those voters surveyed now having questions about Senator Obama's patriotism, still leaving a significant majority, 55%, that do not. By comparison, however, 8 in 10 believing McCain's patriotism to be strong. Not surprising, perhaps, given how often the Republicans have all but accused the Democrat, in this case, of treason. Today, before the same audience of veterans in Orlando to which Senator McCain made his latest accusation just yesterday, Obama making it clear this morning that it is time for these charges to stop.
Let me be clear. I will let no one question my love of this country. I love America. I love America, so do you, and so does John McCain. When I look out at this audience, I see people of different political views. You're Democrats and Republicans and independents, but you all served together and fought together and bled together under the same proud flag. You did not serve a red America or a blue America. You served the United States of America. So let's have a serious debate.
And Senator Obama also challenging the Republican to raise the level and the tenor of his campaign.
I have never suggested and never will that Senator McCain picks his positions on national security based on politics or personal ambition. I've not suggested it because I believe that he genuinely wants to serve America's national interests. Now it's time for him to acknowledge that I want to do the same.
Let's turn now to our own Richard Wolff, senior White House correspondent for Newsweek magazine. Richard, good evening.
Good evening, Keith.
These poll numbers from the LA Times, do they show why Obama perhaps needs to go tougher, possibly on two levels, demonstrate strength on foreign policy issues, and then confront McCain head-on some of these, there's no other word to use, patriotism issues?
You know, these polls are interesting. There's a whole series of them that have shown the numbers to be tightening recently. And I don't think it really comes down to foreign policy. In fact, in the LA Times poll, Obama's numbers on handling a foreign crisis are really not that different from McCain's. But what we have seen is really the effect of him being outspent, Obama being outspent by McCain on very negative advertising. And that's had an impact. So it's the daily messaging about raising questions, especially on taxes, as well as the celebrity question, but reinforced by this big spending advantage that McCain has. And I think we're seeing that, plus Republicans coming into the fold quicker than Democrats. Those two themes there are really coming up in these polls.
Touching on the discussion of the vice presidency, the one I just had with Chuck Todd, is foreign policy experience hoping to fend off these attacks exactly what might be making Senator Biden seem so attractive in the final days in the actual process of the VP selection and vetting?
That is certainly the argument inside the circles that are driven by conventional wisdom. But to be honest, none of this is sourced or reported. This is a huge amount of conjecture. We don't even know the full scope of the shortlist here. Now, there are certain principles involved, according to my campaign sources. One would be that Barack Obama is trying to fill a hole in his resume. The question is that hole foreign policy or is it national security? Is it someone who's worn the military or someone who has foreign policy experience? Because Obama thinks he has plenty on his own. And then the question is, the other choice, is there someone out there who can reinforce the Obama brand? And I think those are the two key choices. What candidate fits those two gaps? We just don't know.
Let me ask you, we have a little more breaking news on the vice presidency. Let me switch off this for just a second. Joe Biden is reported to have returned to his driveway, slowed down to talk to the media, and said, "I promise I don't know anything, have no idea, have spoken to no one, be careful out here on the road." He was then asked, have you spoken with anybody on the campaign, presumably the Obama campaign? I have not spoken with anyone. I have not spoken with anyone. And he's then asked, so you're not ruling out that you're being considered? And he answered, I have no idea. You guys know as well as I do. See you, fellas. Do we? Can we read between the lines here? Because I don't think maybe Chuck's point that actually wasn't Joe Biden is correct. That doesn't sound like the Joe Biden I know.
Yeah, he is having an out-of-body experience here, or at least he's sewn up his lips so tight to show that he has message discipline. Look, that is going to be the lingering doubt about Joe Biden. Can he fit into the Obama model? No drama, someone who can stay on message, someone who can be disciplined, who can not overshadow the candidate. Again, a candidate who thinks he has foreign policy experience. But it also underscores the point I was just making, that information, real information about this process is so tightly held here that everything else is just commentary.
I'll make a correction on the commentary on the short list. Earlier in the newscast, I apparently said Tom Kean, Governor Tom Kean. Of course, Governor Tom Kean was the governor of New Jersey, a Republican, co-chair of the 9/11 Commission. Tim Kaine is, of course, supposedly on the short list we're talking about.
For all we know, it could be Tom Kean as well.
It could be Citizen Kane for all we know. Liz, one thing more up here about Senator McCain. In this the way this has turned in the last month, is he off limits on the patriotism question because the media won't ask questions about it, and the Obama campaign has made some sort of calculation that it's not worthwhile attacking his positions because of this issue of the reality that he spent 5 years as a POW?
Well, campaign aides tell me yes. For a start, they don't want to go there in terms of patriotism because it devalues the Obama brand. Secondly, it's very hard to question patriotism for someone who has been such a national hero with regard to military service. But what they want to do is question his judgment, his foreign policy judgment on the war in Iraq. That's what we heard at the VFW speech today. And they also want to question whether or not he has taken the sort of executive decisions that he suggests he has. It's one thing to serve, another thing to have that national security leadership.
Our own Richard Wolff, also, of course, of Newsweek magazine. Great thanks, Richard.
Thank you, Keith.